Hello everyone, I am Randy Suarez, aka Silva Crow, today back here with another amazing reaction. This time we're back with some more Abba and Preach. And the title is I Married a Monster. And before I get into this, I did watch a bit of this video already. But I did this also to give some warning. Yes, this will be somewhat surreal and kind of graphic, so I apologize if this triggers somebody. I mean, it's not graphic, but the explanation is. Let's just say you'll know when it comes. And also, I like to take this moment is to say this: hey, if you are going to send a request for me to do a video, please understand it's going to take me time. I do have a react to list. I have to get through all that stuff too as well. But at the same time, like, I'm only one person. I literally record and edit all by myself. I do all the editing by myself. There's no one helping me or anything. So it does take time. That's the reason why when I make content, I take a week break from time to time because I need a good refresher. So anyway, just to throw that out there. But we're here to react to some Abba and Preach. So y'all like any other content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to Abba and Preach. I will leave the original link to this video down below. So go out to uninterrupted. Those link to my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow me on those social platforms. Those link to my Cashapp. Feel gracious enough to donate whatever you want to donate. That's fine. You don't, that's fine as well. Same thing. Super thanks by donating, like, comment, subscribe, sharing, all that good stuff. However you show your support, and let me know y'all rock with the reaction content, rock with the channel, and rock with your boy. And further ado, buckle up and let's get started. Alright, we're here with some more Abba and Preach. Y'all already know the title of the video, and I also gave a severe warning. It does talk about something that will make us all uncomfortable. Let's put it that way. But here we go.
Alright, today's video, I watched 1 minute of it. The video is titled, I Married a Monster.
Hi ladies, if you hear any noise in the background, that's the new baby.
The baby's renovating?
A lot.
To be honest, I was thinking the same thing. Like, wait a minute, why does it sound like some renovations going on? Like, come on.
God damn, just bring the baby here, you can fix the floor. Shit. The baby is Bob the Builder.
Oh, he's playing with blocks. He's playing with blocks. Yo, leave the baby alone, bro.
Nah, I mean,
Yo, she want to talk about she married a monster. Leave her alone.
it's hammer time. Dang it. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're going to feel like an asshole. All right.
A lot has happened since the last time that I recorded. I think the last time you guys saw me, I was in my second trimester. I thought that when I came back on here that it would be to maybe do like some kind of newborn favorites or meet my new baby or something like that. But unfortunately, it's been a little over a month since I had to end up leaving my husband. I truly held my husband, or saw him, as the bar for what every woman should, type of man that, or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and you know, he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man, and I believed him. I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him. I just started to see a few things that I didn't like. I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past.
You watched a minute of this and you thought we would, like, that's more than a minute. That's
Hold up.
That's an hour and a half.
Read that sentence on the...
I can't read it. Hold on. He raped me 4 times in the first few months of our marriage.
I'm sorry. People like that needs to get the worst type of beating. And here's the weird part. And well, a lot of people don't understand. Prisons, you could be in there for murder. And just that, surprisingly, here's the thing. They don't take kindly to rapists. Because they're going to show you how how this person felt when you did this. That's the type of timing some prisons are on.
So when she's talking about, I saw a few things I thought I could get over. Mm-hmm. So can I proceed now? What's confusing? Exactly.
6 weeks ago, I was changing my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter. I noticed that
No.
when I changed her, she was red and very sensitive.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Number 2. Prisoners don't take kindly to kid predators. And again, like with the first one, they're going to show you how that person you did that to felt. And you get no choice in the matter.
Nah.
Yep.
Nah, B. Hell nah.
And for context, she already had children before she met him. And then she had a child with him, from what I understand. And this is one of the childs she had before.
Nah.
Let's keep watching.
And immediately, my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God. I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was Dad. I felt like my world ended on that day. My husband wasn't home at the time when she told me, but I knew he would be coming home soon, so all I could do was just say, don't tell him that you told me. And I just instantly started trying to think of how I could get my kids out of the house. Because I knew if I confronted him, that he would just lie, and that he would probably just continue to keep doing stuff to her, but just become more covert or sneaky or whatever. As soon as my husband got home, he was actually picking up the boys from school, my 2 older boys from school. As soon as he got home, I told him that I was gonna go Halloween shopping with my sister because I just needed an excuse to get out of the house with all the kids. And I knew if I said something like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, that it would be suspicious. Like, why am I bringing all the kids and like packing things, like things that we would need and things like that. So when I got to the hospital, they basically told me that we had to go to another hospital because they didn't do physical exams, like that kind of physical exam there. So a police officer escorted the kids and I to another hospital where they were able to evaluate my daughters. It ended up coming out that he had actually been touching both of my daughters, who are only 2 and 4 years old.
Listen. Let me find out. This is if I have a kid as a daughter, and I also have nieces. If I find out that somebody's doing that to my loved ones, my nieces, nephews, doesn't matter. Y'all won't see me anymore. Because I said in several of my past videos, I'm not afraid to make someone an example for messing people that I care about. This is a sick man. Again, yeah, there are worse faces than death, and prison is one of them. Send him next to Diddy. And I'm not joking or anything. No. You're touching kids, bro. babies.
When she said daughters, because at first it was only one. When she said daughters, I was like, this must be just a typo in the way she's talking.
She has 4
It
kids.
still feels like a dream. Like, when this first happened, I just kept waking up every day and just hoping that this was a dream. Because it's literally my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. I myself am a product of RAPE. That's how I came to be. Was also, abused as a child by a neighbor's husband. I specifically prayed to God that my children would never, ever, ever have to go through this. I just don't know how he was able to get away with it and so sneaky. Because of my own trauma, I watch my kids like a hawk. Like, I don't like them sitting on people's laps. None of that. And he knows how much I cannot stand men like him.
There's a thing that you're doing, lady, is you feel guilty for what happened because you're supposed to be the mother, you're supposed to protect your kids, and it happened kind of under your watch, and then you're beating yourself over that shit. And I can understand why you are beating yourself over what happened. I get that. You feel guilty. I get that. But that kind of person did what they did and was trying to hide it from you. So no matter.
Because that person felt guilty of doing so, but he kept doing it. Okay, calm down, Randy, calm down.
How you would have tried, he would have tried to do something. It has nothing to do with, it's not because you didn't protect them. It's because that person is a sick person. It's not because you didn't do your job. It's because that person is really fucking sick.
How do you know, though?
She just neglectly I like to believe that it's not her.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, I agree with Preach on this one. I believe it's not her. No, not simply just neglecting the kids, and the point that happened, the point that she did said, like literally, she does watch her kids like a hawk. She doesn't like her kids to sit on other people's laps and everything. That's fine, and everything, and it's her beating herself up, which is totally a natural instinct to do, because thinking, oh, I let this happen and everything. It's one of those things that, as right now, you know how hard it is not to focus on that. You cannot focus on that. You have to make sure your babies are okay. I mean, trust me, you could deal with that at a later time, but to focus on to make sure, and I know it's hard, I know, to focus on the kids, to make your babies, to make sure they're okay, they get the help that they need. And I mean, this is the one thing you literally have to buckle down and actually be a mother or a parent or a father to make sure that your kids are okay.
I believe that it's
the truth is we don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not even, because I didn't even want to go there. But I also don't want to just sit here and lie. I don't know.
It's not lie. It's just,
I don't, but
we don't know. We just don't
we don't know. But when the topic of like people diddling kids comes up, people always talk about stranger danger, and it's rarely strangers. Like 99% of the time, it's the people closest to you.
And
it's an uncle.
It's people.
And that's the weird part. No, he's right 99% of the time. It is not strangers. Like, it's like, bro, what the? Oh man, I'm getting worked up because this. Oof. Okay.
Some people
It's an aunt, a cousin,
a babysitter,
a family friend. A pastor, people who have high positions of trust.
Yep.
I feel so many different things, You hear about stories like these and you just think to yourself, like, how? Because if you spend around time kids and you see how innocent they are, the idea of defiling somebody like that, not that you should defile anybody, but the most vulnerable is just the most scummy thing I could ever think of. And I don't know, it feels so distinctly different, doesn't it? Of all the things, like, this is the one where it's like, what commentary can you really offer? The most vulnerable amongst us is targeted by certain people for their own gratification, for their own, their pleasure is so important to them. They don't care that they might ruin that person's life and everyone else around. They don't care. That's how scummy it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you think about, like, you know, you pray that there's the deepest part of hell, a special place for. It don't matter because the harm is the harm.
Mm-hmm. You don't know that. No, karma's gonna get you. No, sometimes karma don't get you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it don't. We don't live in a movie.
Unfortunately.
We don't live in a movie where the script is perfect and the good guy always win and the bad guy always, you know, get what's supposed to be handed to them. We live in real life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The other reason why I also don't like karma is it kind of takes away the agency of the people involved, thinking there's some kind of power that's going to create restitution.
It's one of those things that I say sometimes our justice system is not just. I mean, at the end of the day, you have people who gets put away for less, and the people who has more get like less time. Like the people who got lesser charge get put away for a very long time, but the people who have more charges they only get like probation, community service. It is mind-boggling.
You gotta be the karma.
Sometimes you gotta be the one that press charges.
Yup.
You gotta be the one that pursue people.
And I
you
hope
have to be the one that goes after people and hold people accountable. Just waiting for some magic power to do the work, it's not gonna work. You know, sometimes, you know, it is written in the Bible, help yourself and God will help you. Well, you have to help yourself first.
Yeah. On this topic, a couple things I want to say. I think it's great that when she even had an inkling, she didn't hesitate, she didn't disbelieve. Because I know some parents who don't believe because they don't want to believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they close their eyes and they let their kids suffer. So, you know, I appreciate the fact that the first instinct with her was like...
I always say this, and regardless, we live in the day and age to the point that when this is bring up, your first thing should to be act. Some parents nowadays, like I was said, they distance themselves and say, I don't believe it. If it's one of those things you have to actually, because what if, and yes, to make sure that my kid lying, or she's telling, or he or she is telling the truth. You have to act. You literally have to act.
And she was very smart about it. She thought of a well-crafted lie that could get her away. She did all the right things. And so prioritizing your kids, coming up with the right lie, trying to get them out to safety before doing any stuff, you know, going to official and getting, you know, the great kid done. All these things, you know, I commend her for trying to protect her when she knew what she knew. And I think as far as speaking on this, I imagine it's not easy for her. And this is a very difficult thing to come to terms with. And maybe speaking for her is cathartic. It helps her out. I never want to make it sound like her doing this is something I'm going to shame or whatever.
No.
On the flip side, there is some part of me that feels it's slightly inappropriate to talk about your children's trauma on the internet before they're able to get old enough and decide for themselves.
Yeah, that part. Yeah. It's the reason why, don't get me wrong, if it's your trauma in general, then yeah, but if it's your kid's trauma, leave that to the side until your kids are old enough. And if they ever want to bring this up to you, and it's okay with them for you to share this to the rest of the world, then that when it's gonna be okay. It's something that I discuss with a lot of people sometimes, especially about their trauma. Think about your trauma. If you want to share it, if it's too much, that's fine. I have trauma. Sometimes I share it through my story time. Sometimes I don't. And it's one of those things that not everything needs to be shared. Sometimes you like to keep those to yourself because at the end of the day, no one. But at the same time, if you don't share, if you share it and give some positivity at the end, then that's okay. Because you make sure that, hey, you're not alone in this. But with this, I'm sorry that she's going through this, but I do have to agree with Abel. You have to make sure your kid's okay with you sharing this information on the internet about them. If they're not, leave it at that.
If they want the public to know. I could imagine that if I was diddled as a child, that's not something I'd want out there if there was a choice. And I think a lot of people would want to make that same decision.
Yeah, I want to be the one that's gonna choose where and when
Yeah.
my trauma is going to be disclosed.
And
we
who
don't
knows?
see the face of the parent. Yeah, but the parent is a young person, so we know. A lot of people know the kids.
It's not about us in the public.
No,
It's about the people who know her.
Exactly.
Right? And this video got, 2 million views, so it's a very big video.
Yeah.
And I imagine for the kids, like everyone in their circle, and is going to know those kids, and they're going to be raised with that. Now, look, maybe it's fun. I can't speak. I'm just saying. That's just something that came to mind. I'm not condoning. It's just something that came to mind.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree. It's just like the pictures, all the pictures that I see. I feel uncomfortable whenever I see parents posting a bunch of pictures of their kids.
It's not the same thing.
I know, I understand, but I always feel comfortable about that. And then there's the people that really go deep in the pictures and stuff like that. Like I've seen pictures in baths, pictures in the pool and stuff like that with kiddies. I feel uncomfortable. I don't necessarily want that out if I was a kid. My butt cheeks all the happy birthday, and you got people when he was a kid, and it's just it's just weird. You know what I mean?
That was an interesting segue, but okay.
What?
That was an interesting segue, but okay.
Which you want your kid, but your baby butt cheek pictures all in the internet?
No.
It's a baby picture. That's me though, but listen, to each their own. I don't think that big a thing. I think someone's trauma is a bit different.
Sure. But if I have a problem with that, I'm gonna have a bigger problem with trauma.
Fair.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
fair.
Like me not wanting this starts way before we talk about trauma. Just the baby picture that I have a problem. So the trauma, that's
Sure. Your channel revolves around you promoting the idea of a trophy wife. I think this is a side of this conversation that we don't like indulging in, but I do hear women talk about this sometimes. A trophy wife is essentially somebody who puts themselves at the beck and call of their husband.
I say this, and I'll say it clearly. I never want a trophy wife. I'm engaged to a beautiful woman, and to put her on that pedestal to me is unfair, because she's like first and foremost, no one, doesn't matter if it's man or woman, should be at someone's beck and call. They ain't no freaking dog, unless you're into that, but still. It's one of those things that I will say this. This ain't the 50s. This ain't the 60s. It's the reason why that type of mentality stayed in those time periods. Because it doesn't work. It didn't work for the others. It ain't gonna work now.
And basically gives most of the financial and the responsibility to somebody else, thus giving them the power. I just want to think about what kind of person that might attract and what kind of dynamic you create for yourself, where you become subservient to circumstances that you may not otherwise be if you retain some of that power and some of that financial capability within the relationship dynamic. We're talking about the graping of the kids, but the truth is, when you were raped 4 times, that should have been the end of it, right?
That's where
See, I was thinking that, but I was waiting for them to say that, because at the end of the day, like, you still stayed. And this is not putting blame on her and anything, but someone telling me it was a lot more, something more going on than what she's sharing now, which is fine. She doesn't have to share that.
didn't want to sound like a jackass, so I let it slide.
What's confusing? Exactly.
I'm trying not to look like a jackass. But yeah, no.
What were you gonna say?
No, nothing.
No, it's not about blaming. It's just a type of conversation about, like, we have to be careful with these labels now, because I notice on the internet we glorify the idea of being a trophy wife, okay? But we also have to think about what it is that we're essentially doing in that kind of dynamic. What we're giving up, what we're putting ourselves at risk, and the kids that we bring into that relationship. That's all I'm trying to say.
And here's the thing. If someone wants to be a stay-at-home trophy wife or whatever, or trophy wife in general, make sure that your other half treats you like the queen, treats you like the freaking queen that you are. Like, if you really wanted that, you know, not simply out of your beck and call, the point that he does small things that you don't really expect, and all of a sudden it just is there. Even simple things like randomly giving you flowers at the middle of the week. Flowers cost, like a bouquet of flowers costs about at least $10, $12. And it depends on what type of flower. It may cost a little bit more, but at the same time, hey, you're doing something nice.
A trophy don't talk.
A trophy's not to be respected.
A trophy don't talk. A trophy just look good.
You know,
It's just there. Yay, I got the trophy.
to me, I made the same comment with the other group of girls, the prawn stars who were talking about, you know, becoming trophy wives and how great and amazing it is. And I was just like, what's great about being in somebody's cabinet, some kind of possession? Like, do you want to be treated like a human? I don't know. To talk about yourself that way and to glorify that idea, and then to be in a circumstance where you get objectified, I just think we have to be careful. Actually, no. I'm gonna go a little bit stronger. I think we should probably dump the idea of glorifying being a trophy wife. I think it's okay to say you want to be a traditional. Well, it's fine. But some of these terms and the kind of people who get attracted to these ideas, I don't know if you want to mingle with that.
And it turns out it's a lot. What's the word for it? It seemed like you barking up the wrong tree. It's not what it seemed. The grass is greener. The grass wasn't greener on the other side. Basically summing all that up.
Now, maybe some of you could be like, you victim blame. I'm not trying to victim blame them. I think it's okay to say certain lifestyles invite certain negative things. And I think it's okay to say we shouldn't promote these lifestyles because they encourage a lot of these negative things. Now, I shouldn't be shaming the people who end up suffering from the negative consequences. But I think it's okay to say, you know, don't hang around drug dealers and all these guys because you might get blasted. And I think it's okay to say don't promote these kind of relationship dynamics that always put the women far below the men and treat it as an object. If that's victim, I don't know. But I think it's important to say that. Because this is the negative side of this stuff. If they can go out and promote it, and it sometimes can have very dark outcomes, I think it's okay to be on the other side and say, this is some of the bad things that happen to it. And it's a possibility, not saying this is the case, that this is what this attracts. You know? I know I would be nervous if my sibling told me they were a trophy wife to some rich guy.
I would too. I would. I'm like, my eyes were squinting for a bit. I'm like, are you sure you want to be like that? It's a conundrum.
And he was, and they were publicly saying that, and he was okay with that. I'm like, how does he view this person that I consider, you know, I don't want her to ever be harmed, but he views her as a trophy? How would I feel about my loved one being in that kind of dynamic?
Nervous? I'd be more than nervous, but yeah.
You know?
The victim blaming thing. You know, there's some people that don't have the privilege of saying victim blaming.
Because they did.
That was a good point, but that's not where I was going. There's some people that don't have the privilege because of the environment where they at. They have to watch out for themselves.
Yep.
Victim blaming shit is gonna get them killed. If you turn certain corners wherever you live, or you go certain places, you might end up unalived. If you live in some places, the favelas, there's some codes that you have to respect. If you don't want, and wherever you live or you go certain places, you might end up unalived. If you live in some places, the favelas, there's some codes that you have to respect. If you don't want and end up being a victim. If you live in some kinds of slums or in some places in the world, you don't have the privilege of being victim blaming. No, I gotta watch out for me.
That's it.
And I gotta have accountability of where I walk, how I talk, who I talk to, who I speak, who I mingle with. And I cannot call that victim blaming. I gotta be like on my toes. If I'm a father, I got daughters, I gotta tell them, you know what? You gotta walk certain ways. You can't wear everything. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't be too drunk.
It's one of those things that I still remember, like, clearly. When my friend's daughter got upset because he, you know, telling her, don't. The best way I could put it, as a young lady who's wearing a skirt, you're not supposed to leave your legs wide open, basically. And she didn't understand why she got upset. And he literally had to take her and talk to her and explain all that. And as soon as he did, the attitude changed. She understands it's the thing I would gladly say normalize this type of conversation.
That's what I can control, and that's what I can have my eyes on. Victim blaming? Maybe. I call it doing my job as a father that my daughter has to come back home. to be like, hey, you're a woman, you can do whatever you want. You should living in this utopia. I can't.
I mean, we do it dudes all the time, right? We tell guys, hey, listen, don't speak about violence. Don't be, patronizing, disregard, or
Watch your mouth.
Why? Because you might invite that kind of stuff in your life. Why can't we do it the other way around? Again, this is not to look at her and to degrade her, to not wish her well, to not want therapy or whatever she's going to need, and for her kids to come out of this. But
when you promote the live a trophy wife, I mean,
that's her channel, and I think it's important to have that conversation.
It is.
What you put out there draws some kind of people. I truly believe that. If you were out there and you had a channel about money and how it's all about money and getting fast cars, and then you attract gold diggers, I'm going to counsel you against that, because the lifestyle you're promoting attracts certain kind of people. I believe that's okay. And if people come for me, then I'm fine with that. I feel like I did my responsibility to my audience. That's what I think. Listen, I hope they all come through this. This is a dark one.
this is a dark one.
But yeah, hey man, it be the people closest to you. It be a true, and people, before they say like, oh man this, man that, I think I get served every single day a video about a female teacher diddling some kid. Don't believe me? Go on YouTube right now and look up. There are hundreds of these stories.
Hundreds.
Do not look the other way, whether it's a man or it's a woman. Just be aware of your child. Be aware of the people you invite into your home. And look, I'm not saying you guys can always protect everybody, but we could all try to do better. And we owe it to the kids. At the end of the day, as uncomfortable as this is, they're the ones who we bring into this world. They're the ones most vulnerable, so it's our responsibility. Not just the people involved, but the people around us. If you see something, say something. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts. Anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, well, that's it for today.
Yeah, we have to do better for the kids, man. It's one of those things that as I'm getting older, I heard that a lot as a kid. And I'm older, I'm about to turn 32. And not only know I understand where they're coming from. We must do better for the kids in general, because they need to learn that to respect themselves. But I digress. But let me know your thoughts about this video, the commentary on this, and let me know, like, when it comes to this type of subject and in general, it's okay to talk about it, but talk about it at your own pace. So, anyway, that's the end of the video. So, you like any other content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to Alba and Preach. I will leave the original link to this video down below so you can watch it uninterrupted. Until next time, please take care of yourself, stay hydrated, stay safe, stay warm. Peace out.
And little questions is everything they know about you.